Ladies and gentlemen, there is a quiet kind of power that never announces itself before entering the room. It does not need applause to believe it belongs. It does not wait for permission to speak, to dream, or to become. It walks with the steady rhythm of someone who has already made peace with her own reflection. That is the kind of confidence we are here to explore today. Not the confidence borrowed from compliments, titles, beauty, or success, but the confidence that is born in the deepest corners of the soul, where no stranger's opinion can reach. Too often, the world teaches women to measure themselves by mirrors that were never meant to reveal their true faces. They are told to become smaller so others may feel larger, quieter so others may remain comfortable, and uncertain so they will continue asking for approval. Yet history has always belonged in part to the women who refused such bargains. They carried storms behind calm eyes, hope behind tired smiles, and courage inside hearts that had every reason to surrender. Their confidence was never loud, it was rooted, it was patient, it was undeniable. Today we are not talking about pretending to be fearless. We are talking about discovering the habits that allow a woman to stand firm, even when fear whispers in her ear. We are talking about the daily choices that shape a mind unwilling to be defined by rejection, criticism, or doubt. Because confidence is not something a fortunate few are born with. It is something built through thought after thought, decision after decision, until self-belief becomes stronger than self-doubt. So as we begin this journey into how confident women think and act, habits of confident women, I invite you to set aside every limiting story you have ever accepted about yourself. Listen not for perfection, but for possibility. Listen for the quiet voice within you that has been waiting, perhaps for years, to be trusted. For when a woman truly believes in her own worth, she does more than change her own life. She changes the meaning of strength for everyone who watches her rise. Confidence begins long before anyone notices it. It starts in the private conversations a woman has with herself, in the silent moments when no audience is watching and no applause is expected. The most confident women do not wake up believing they are valuable because the world has praised them. They believe they are valuable because they have chosen to define themselves from the inside, rather than allowing the outside world to write their story. They understand that if they hand others the pen to describe who they are, they will spend their lives reading chapters filled with someone else's expectations instead of their own truth. From childhood, many women are surrounded by voices eager to explain who they should become. They are told how they should look, how they should speak, what dreams are acceptable, and how much space they are allowed to occupy. Some of these voices come from society, some from family, and others from people who have never taken the time to understand them. If these voices become louder than a woman's own inner voice, she begins to measure her worth through borrowed standards. Confidence weakens because it is rooted in approval that can disappear as quickly as it arrives. A confident woman recognizes this trap and quietly steps away from it. She understands that self-definition is not an act of rebellion for its own sake. It is an act of survival. She asks herself difficult questions instead of accepting easy answers. What do I truly believe? What kind of life reflects my deepest values? What dreams continue to call me even when others dismiss them? These questions guide her toward an identity built on honesty rather than performance. She no longer spends her energy becoming who others find convenient. Instead, she invests her strength in becoming someone she can recognize with pride. This way of thinking changes every decision she makes. When criticism appears, she listens with wisdom instead of panic. She understands that not every opinion deserves a permanent place in her heart. Some criticism helps her grow, while other criticism merely reveals another person's fears, prejudices, or limitations. Because she knows who she is, she can separate useful guidance from unnecessary judgment. She does not crumble under every harsh word because her foundation was never built upon the shifting ground of public approval. Self-definition also gives her freedom from constant comparison. She no longer measures her progress against another woman's beauty, career, relationships, or achievements. She realizes that comparison steals attention from the unique gifts she alone can offer. Every woman carries a different history, different wounds, different talents, and different purposes. Trying to imitate someone else's journey only distances her from her own potential. Confidence grows when she honors her individuality instead of apologizing for it. This inner certainty does not mean she believes she is perfect. In fact, confident women often know their flaws better than anyone else. The difference is that they refuse to let imperfections become their identity. They see mistakes as experiences, weaknesses as opportunities to learn, and failures as chapters rather than conclusions. They speak to themselves with honesty, but never with cruelty. They understand that growth requires compassion as much as discipline, and they refuse to become their own harshest enemy. When a woman defines herself, she also protects her boundaries. She becomes less willing to sacrifice her peace simply to gain acceptance. She understands that saying yes to everything often means saying no to herself. She chooses relationships that respect her voice, opportunities that align with her values, and environments where her dignity is not treated as something negotiable. Her confidence is reflected not only in what she embraces, but also in what she quietly walks away from, knowing that preserving her identity is far more valuable than winning temporary approval. A confident woman understands that her voice is more than the sound she makes when she speaks. It is the expression of her thoughts, values, experiences, and convictions. She knows that silence can sometimes be wise, but silence forced by fear slowly erases identity. Throughout history, countless women have been encouraged to soften their opinions, hide their intelligence, or remain agreeable so they would be easier to accept. Yet, confidence grows when a woman realizes that her perspective has value, even if it challenges expectations or makes others uncomfortable. Finding one's voice is rarely a dramatic moment. It is often a series of quiet decisions made every day. It is choosing to ask a question instead of pretending to understand. It is expressing an honest opinion during a meeting instead of nodding in agreement simply to avoid conflict. It is admitting a mistake without allowing shame to define the future. It is speaking with kindness while refusing to apologize for existing. These small acts gradually become habits, and those habits shape a woman who trusts herself enough to be heard. A confident woman also understands the difference between speaking to prove her worth and speaking because she already knows her worth. When people seek validation, they often talk to impress, persuade, or gain approval. Their confidence rises and falls depending on how others respond. But a woman grounded in self-respect communicates from a place of authenticity. She does not need every person to agree with her because agreement is not the measure of truth. She listens carefully, considers other viewpoints, and remains open to learning, yet she does not abandon her principles simply because they are unpopular. Protecting her voice also means protecting her time, energy, and emotional well-being. Every invitation does not deserve acceptance. Every argument does not require participation. Every criticism does not need a response. Confidence teaches discernment. She learns that boundaries are not walls built to keep people out. They are healthy limits that protect what matters most. She recognizes when relationships demand constant sacrifice without mutual respect, and she understands that preserving her peace is not selfish but necessary. By honoring her boundaries, she sends a clear message that her dignity is not available for negotiation. There will always be moments when others expect her to shrink. Some may feel threatened by her ambition, her independence, or her refusal to conform. Others may mistake kindness for weakness and assume she will remain silent in the face of unfairness. A confident woman does not answer hostility with bitterness, nor does she allow intimidation to silence her. She remains composed because she knows that strength does not require loudness. There is remarkable power in calm conviction, in speaking with clarity instead of anger, and in standing firm without losing grace. This confidence influences every area of her life. It allows her to pursue opportunities that once seemed beyond reach, because she believes her ideas deserve consideration. It helps her build healthier relationships because she communicates honestly rather than hiding her needs. It encourages her to raise children, mentor others, and contribute to her community with courage instead of hesitation. Her voice becomes a source of encouragement rather than fear, because it is rooted in integrity instead of ego. She also recognizes that protecting her voice includes the conversations she has with herself. The words repeated in private become the beliefs carried into public life. If she constantly tells herself that she is incapable, unworthy, or invisible, those thoughts will eventually shape her actions. Instead, she chooses language that reflects truth rather than insecurity. She reminds herself that her experiences matter, her wisdom has been earned, and her presence carries meaning. She refuses to shrink to fit spaces that were never designed to honor her, choosing instead to stand fully in the identity she has claimed for herself, and to speak with the quiet certainty of someone who knows her voice deserves to exist. A confident woman does not become strong because life has been easy. More often, her confidence is shaped by moments that tested her patience, challenged her identity, and forced her to discover strengths she never knew she possessed. She understands that fear, failure, and pain are not signs that she should stop moving forward. Instead, they become teachers, revealing lessons that comfort could never provide. While others may see only the confidence she carries today, they rarely see the countless moments when she had to choose courage over despair, hope over disappointment, and perseverance over surrender. Fear is a natural part of every meaningful journey. Even the most confident women experience uncertainty before making difficult decisions. They may question whether they are capable enough, prepared enough, or worthy enough. The difference is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let fear become the author of their future. They recognize that waiting to feel completely fearless often means waiting forever. Instead, they move forward despite trembling hands and unanswered questions, trusting that courage grows through action rather than hesitation. Every step taken in the presence of fear weakens its control and strengthens self-belief. Failure also plays an important role in shaping confidence. Society often celebrates success while hiding the struggles that made it possible. A confident woman knows that every setback carries a lesson if she is willing to learn from it. She does not allow one unsuccessful attempt to define her abilities or limit her dreams. Rather than asking, "Why did this happen to me?" she begins asking, "What is this experience trying to teach me?" This shift in perspective transforms disappointment into education. Every mistake becomes an opportunity to grow wiser, more patient, and more resilient. Pain, too, leaves its mark, but it does not have to leave destruction. Emotional wounds, broken relationships, betrayal, rejection, loss, and personal hardships have the power to either harden the heart or deepen its wisdom. A confident woman chooses healing instead of bitterness. She refuses to allow painful experiences to convince her that she is unworthy of love, respect, or happiness. Instead, she carries the memory of those experiences as reminders of how far she has come. Her scars become evidence of survival rather than symbols of defeat. This transformation requires honesty. Confident women do not pretend that suffering never affected them. They acknowledge their emotions without allowing those emotions to control every decision. They understand that strength is not found in denying tears or hiding vulnerability. Real strength comes from facing difficult emotions with patience, seeking healing when necessary, and continuing to move forward even when the path feels uncertain. They know that pretending to be unbreakable often creates greater weakness, while accepting their humanity creates genuine resilience. As fear, failure, and pain are transformed into wisdom, a woman's perspective begins to change. She becomes less afraid of taking risks because she has already survived disappointment. She becomes more compassionate toward others because she remembers what struggle feels like. She becomes less dependent on perfection because she understands that growth is often messy and unpredictable. Every difficult experience adds another layer of understanding, making her decisions more thoughtful and her confidence more deeply rooted. This quiet wisdom also protects her from comparing her journey with someone else's. She knows that every person's path includes hidden battles that outsiders never see. Instead of envying another woman's success, she celebrates it while continuing to honor her own process. She understands that confidence is not built by avoiding hardship, but by allowing hardship to refine character. What once seemed like obstacles gradually become stepping stones, each one teaching patience, endurance, humility, and inner strength. The woman who emerges from these experiences is no longer searching for proof that she is capable, because life itself has already become the evidence. And every challenge she has overcome reminds her that the strength she seeks has been growing within her all along. A confident woman is recognized not merely by what she says, but by how she lives. Her actions reveal the beliefs she carries within, and those actions are guided by purpose, dignity, and unwavering self-respect. She does not chase every opportunity simply because it promises recognition, nor does she allow temporary rewards to pull her away from what truly matters. Instead, she asks whether her choices reflect the values she has committed herself to. She understands that confidence is not about appearing successful in the eyes of others. It is about living in a way that allows her to remain honest with herself. Purpose gives direction to her confidence. Without purpose, confidence can easily become pride or empty ambition, constantly searching for the next achievement to feel complete. A woman with purpose knows why she works, why she serves, why she learns, and why she continues even when the road becomes difficult. Her goals are connected to something greater than praise or popularity. Whether she is raising a family, leading a business, creating art, teaching others, or serving her community, she invests herself fully because she believes her work has meaning. This sense of purpose becomes an anchor during difficult seasons, keeping her focused when distractions and disappointments threaten to pull her away. Dignity is another habit that quietly shapes her actions. She carries herself with grace, not because life has spared her from hardship, but because she refuses to let hardship steal her character. She treats others with kindness, regardless of their position or influence, knowing that respect offered to others never diminishes her own worth. At the same time, she expects respect in return. She does not tolerate insults disguised as humor, manipulation disguised as love, or dishonesty disguised as loyalty. Her dignity reminds her that every relationship should be built upon mutual honor rather than control. Self-respect influences the decisions she makes every day. It shapes the conversations she participates in, the friendships she nurtures, and the environments she chooses to remain in. A confident woman understands that every decision either strengthens or weakens her sense of self. She does not compromise her values simply to gain acceptance, because she knows that approval purchased at the cost of integrity is far too expensive. Even when standing alone feels uncomfortable, she would rather walk with honesty than follow a crowd moving in the wrong direction. This commitment to self-respect also appears in the way she treats herself. She recognizes that rest is not laziness, learning is not weakness, and asking for help is not failure. She understands that caring for her physical, emotional, and mental well-being allows her to serve others more effectively. She sets healthy boundaries around her time and energy, refusing to believe that constant exhaustion is proof of dedication. She values herself enough to protect the life she is building. When mistakes happen, as they inevitably do, she responds with accountability instead of excuses. Confidence does not prevent failure, but it allows her to admit when she is wrong without feeling that her entire identity is under attack. She apologizes sincerely, learns from the experience, and continues moving forward. This humility strengthens rather than weakens her confidence because she understands that growth requires honesty. She is secure enough to accept correction without becoming defensive, and wise enough to recognize that learning never truly ends. Her actions also reflect consistency. She behaves with integrity whether others are watching or not, because her values are not performances designed for applause. She understands that true character is revealed in ordinary moments, in small decisions that rarely receive attention. Over time, these consistent choices build trust, not only with others but within herself. Each time she honors her principles, she strengthens the belief that she can rely on her own judgment and remain faithful to the person she has chosen to become. In this way, her confidence becomes something deeper than emotion or appearance. It becomes a steady way of living, quietly expressed through purposeful decisions, dignified conduct, and an unshakable respect for her own worth, True confidence possesses a remarkable quality that often goes unnoticed. It does not seek to dominate, compete, or prove superiority. Instead, it quietly creates space for others to discover their own strength. A confident woman understands that her value is not reduced when another woman succeeds. She knows that confidence is not a limited resource to be protected or fought over. The more it is shared, the more it grows. Because she is secure in her own identity, she celebrates the achievements of others without feeling threatened, recognizing that another person's success does not diminish her own possibilities. Many people confuse confidence with attention. They believe that the loudest voice in the room must also be the strongest. Yet genuine confidence rarely demands the spotlight. It shines through consistency, integrity, and compassion rather than constant recognition. A confident woman does not need every conversation to revolve around her accomplishments, or every room to acknowledge her presence. She is comfortable allowing others to speak, to lead, and to receive appreciation because she does not measure her worth by how much attention she attracts. Her peace comes from knowing who she is, not from convincing everyone else of it. This quiet confidence naturally inspires those around her. Younger women look at her and realize that strength does not require arrogance. Friends find comfort in her calm presence because she listens without judgment and encourages without jealousy. Colleagues trust her because she shares knowledge instead of guarding it out of insecurity. Family members rely on her wisdom because she offers guidance with humility rather than control. Her influence grows not because she demands respect, but because her actions consistently earn it. She also understands the importance of lifting others as she continues climbing herself. She remembers the moments when someone believed in her before she fully believed in herself. Those memories remind her that encouragement can change the direction of another person's life. Instead of viewing every capable woman as competition, she chooses collaboration. She offers support, shares opportunities, celebrates victories, and reminds others of their potential. In doing so, she creates an environment where confidence multiplies instead of being guarded. A confident woman is also careful with her words because she recognizes their lasting impact. She avoids unnecessary criticism, gossip, and comparisons that weaken another person's spirit. Instead, she speaks with honesty wrapped in kindness. When correction is needed, she offers it respectfully. When praise is deserved, she gives it generously. She knows that powerful words are not those spoken the loudest, but those spoken with sincerity and purpose. Through her speech, she leaves people feeling seen, respected, and encouraged rather than diminished. Her confidence also teaches others through the example of resilience. When life becomes difficult, she does not pretend to have every answer. She acknowledges hardship while continuing to move forward with hope. Those who watch her realize that courage is not the absence of struggle, but the decision to keep going despite it. Her perseverance becomes a silent lesson for anyone facing fear, disappointment, or uncertainty. She inspires not by claiming perfection, but by demonstrating faithfulness through life's changing seasons. Perhaps the greatest mark of true confidence is generosity of spirit. A woman who knows her own worth has no need to diminish the worth of anyone else. She does not build herself by tearing others down, nor does she seek validation through comparison. She understands that every individual carries unique gifts, different stories, and distinct purposes. This awareness fills her with humility as well as gratitude. Rather than asking how she can appear greater than those around her, she asks how her presence can leave others stronger, wiser, and more hopeful than they were before they met her. In that quiet commitment to uplift instead of overshadow, to encourage instead of compete, and to lead through compassion rather than applause, her confidence becomes more than a personal strength. It becomes a lasting light that awakens confidence in countless others who are still learning to believe in themselves.